In this video, we are given the equation of a circle in standard form like this. And we're being asked what's the center and what's the radius, and we're supposed to graph it. So we're going to learn how to do that right now. The key is that we're going to rewrite this equation in standard form. And the key to that is completing the square. So here's how you complete the square. Collect your terms that have the same variable. So my x's go together. So I'm going to write them next to each other. So that's x squared plus 6x. Now I'm going to collect my y variable terms as well. Leave a space. So then I'll have plus y squared plus 6y. See that 9? That's in the way. Let's go ahead and subtract 9 from both sides. So I'm going to leave a space, but I'm going to put equals -9 because of that. Alright, so now every term is rewritten, just in a different spot. So here's where we do what's called completing the square. For the x's, half of the middle is 3. 3 squared is 9. Alright, so I'm going to add 9 on both sides of the equation. So again, what I was saying was half the middle squared. So we're going to do the same thing with the y part of the equation. This will be the middle. Half of this, well, it's the same variable, but half of this is 3. 3 squared is 9. So I'm going to be adding 9 to both sides again. Now, the point of completing the square was to make it so that these would factor as the same thing twice. Specifically, this trinomial will factor as x plus 3 times x plus 3. This trinomial with the y's in it will factor as y plus 3 times y plus 3. I'm seeing a lot of balance and symmetry here. Meanwhile, on the other side of the equal sign, the -9 and the +9 cancel out. So that just leaves 9. Alright. So now I can write the x plus 3 times x plus 3 as x plus 3 squared. And I can rewrite this as y plus 3 squared. And just bring down the fact that that equals 9. So this is standard form. Once you have standard form, you can look at it and know the center. The center is going to be -3 because of that, comma, -3 because of that. Notice I'm taking the opposite of both of those. The radius is going to be 3. Why? Because this 9 is the radius squared. So if I want the radius, I'm taking the square root of both sides. Thus 3. Now we will graph it. We have to start by graphing the center point, -3, -3. So that would be right here. Now the radius tells us to go 3 in all directions. So that would be here, and here, and about here, and about here. Okay, so your graph should look something like that. It does go off the circle a little bit, but I mean off of the grid, but that's okay, it happens. So that was number 9 we just did. Alright, now let's do number 10. Okay, same type of thing. We need to, okay, I really do not like the fact that my x squared and y squared have 4's in front of them. Alright, this problem could be really, really difficult. I'm going to try doing it with decimals and see how that works out. Otherwise, it's going to have a lot of fractions and ugly ones. So I'm going to try decimals and see how far I get. So this will be an adventure for all of us. It should be pretty fun. I do not know what's going to happen. So first of all, I really like my x squared and my y squared to have no number in front. So I'm going to try dividing everything by 4. Okay, so if I divide by 4, okay, so right away, like, this is going to be a decimal. But I'm just going to roll with it for now. So that's going to give me, so now I have x squared minus 5x, okay, plus y squared. I'm going to go ahead and leave a space right now, okay, for my x's over there. So plus y squared is equal to negative, let's see, 21 divided by 4. Okay, that's 5.25. Okay, now it's time to complete the square. Now I'd have to do half of this and square it. Okay, so half of 5 is 2.5, right? So you know what I'm saying? 5 divided by 2. That's 2.5. Now if I take 2.5 and I square it, I get 6.25. Okay, so half the middle squared. So I'm adding 6.25 to both sides. All right, now maybe the trickiest part here is taking this and factoring it. And so here's the deal. X squared, it's going to be x and x. Okay, and I know it's going to be minus and minus. This number I can get by taking the square root of 6.25. And that's going to tell me what goes here and here. So let's see what happens if I do that. Square root of 6.25. Okay, that's 2.5, which by the way is the same thing as just half the middle without squaring it. So we kind of knew it would be 2.5. So fine, I've got 2.5, I've got 2.5. All right, I've still got this y squared, don't forget about it. Now, negative 5.25 plus 6.25, that's 1. All right, did you catch that? Negative 5.25 plus 6.25. That's 1. So that's looking not too bad. So then I can take this and write x minus 2.5 squared plus y squared is equal to 1. All right, so there it is. There's my standard form. The hardest part was understanding that this 6.25 would factor as 2.5 times 2.5. And you can either think of it as doing the square root of 6.25, or you can understand that these numbers will always be just half the middle. Half of 5 is 2.5. In fact, we could say half of negative 5 is negative 2.5, and boom, boom. Okay. So the center is going to be 2.5, comma, 0. See how when you have just a y squared, that leads to a 0. And the radius is going to be 1, because the square root of 1 is just 1. Okay, so my center is at 2.5, so here's 2.5, and then comma 0, so it'll be right there on the line. And then my radius is 1, so that means I'm going to go up 1, down 1, right 1, and left 1. All right, can I draw a circle this small? I just don't know. It's pretty good. All right, so that's what that should look like. So number 10 was a little tricky, but there you go.